Hello, my name is Rachel and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to go through everything that I'm currently holding in my SIPP or self-invested personal pension. So I have this SIPP with AJ Bell. I actually did a video where I compared different providers and AJ Bell was the one that was right for me based on how much money I wanted to be putting in and the value of the pot of investment. So if you want to see that video, then I will link it here. But today I wanted to go through the 11 investments that I'm currently holding in my self-invested personal pension. Now, this is a self-invested personal pension where I gathered a couple of old workplace pensions together and then put them in one place just so I can have oversight and take my own approach in DIY investing. So some of these investments are historic investments that I've held for some time. Some of them are ones that I've added in more recently. I would show you this on AJ Bell's app, but unfortunately the historic investments that I moved across from my previous self-invested personal pension provider have come across and are showing at a 0% gain or loss when actually some of them have gone up and some of them have gone down. So I'm not sure why that is in the AJ Bell app, but I've decided to take the information out and put it into a spreadsheet instead. The newer investments that I've added, you can see the percentage gain or loss on those, but for some reason you can't see it on the ones that were moved across. But I might ask AJ Bell about that because I found their customer service to be really, really good. So I will probably contact them and see what's happening there. Okay, so moving on now to those 11 different investments that I'm currently holding. Just to say, I am absolutely not an expert. I'm really interested in investing in personal finance. I've recently taken an exam in investing, which is great, but I'm not an expert. I'm not here to tell you how to plan your own pension. You definitely need to make decisions that are right for you. Your risk level has to be right for you. So this is just what I am doing, but please do go away and take financial advice or make your decisions yourself. So I don't actually have any bonds in this self-invested personal pension, and that is purely because I am currently in my 30s and I don't want to have any bonds allocation within my self-invested personal pension. However, if you're closer to retirement age, often it's advised by professionals to have some bonds in your portfolio or to have a cash buffer. That's just worth noting, but I currently don't have any bonds in my portfolio. So the first investment is the Baillie Gifford American B Accumulation Fund. I have got £599 and 9 pence worth of that. The second one is another historic one which was moved across. It's the Baillie Gifford Positive Change Fund. Its value is £1,337 and 32 pence. It's worth noting actually that I will probably do monthly updates on this self-invested personal pension, particularly if anything interesting happens, if the value changes considerably and I think it's interesting, I will share it. Also, if I choose to pay a significant amount of money into this self-invested personal pension in that month, I'll also share that as well. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which is actually an ETF. It's the iShares Agribusiness ETF. The value that I have in my SIPP is £415 and 50 pence. So this is actually an ETF that I recently added to my investment ISA as well. So we shall see how that does. Moving to the next ETF, it is the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF. The starting value for this is £455 and 91 pence. And another ETF is the iShares MSCI USA SRI ETF, which has a value of £1,355 and 90 pence. This is all their current values. As I said, if I do monthly updates on this, if you fancy subscribing, you can see those and you can see how much they've gone up or down, potentially at the moment, from here. The next ETF is the iShares S&P 500 Information Technology ETF. So this is not the S&P 500, although I do have that later on. This is an ETF that tracks the information technology companies within the S&P 500. The value of that at the moment is £847 and 92 pence. Moving on now to LNG, another ETF, it is the Battery Value Chain ETF. So this is quite niche. A few of these ETFs are quite niche They are seen as thematic ETFs, so this one is obviously focusing on battery value chains, so they might not be the right investment for you because the fees are slightly higher than you would expect from an ETF. They're still all under 1%, but on the higher end. And also, as I said, they're focusing on a very specific theme. So if you wanted an ETF that had hundreds and hundreds of companies, then these ones might not be right for you. So yeah, the battery value chain ETF, the current value of that is £433.79. Then moving on to investment trusts. So I have two Baillie Gifford investment trusts. These were historic investments that were moved across. I have the Pacific Horizon Investment Trust, which has a value of £949.98. And then the Baillie Gifford Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust, which has a value of £788.97. Now, it's worth noting that Baillie Gifford funds and trusts have not been performing very well in the last few months. They had a phenomenal 2020 with a lot of the trusts and funds going up nearly 100% or over 100% in that year, and they are coming back down to earth now and have not performed well in the last few months, but I've got a separate video on that if you fancy checking that out. So moving on now to trustee Vanguard. So I have two Vanguard ETFs in this portfolio. The first one is the Vanguard FTSE Developed World excluding the UK, and the value of this is £581.68. And then I have the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF, which a lot of people are invested in. Its value is currently £860.10. And then I have a tiny bit of cash in here, so that's just £2.37, which is just left over. So that brings my self-invested personal pension total to £8,628.53. Now that is a long way off where I want it to be. However, I choose to invest predominantly into my stocks and shares and investment ISA and try and get as close as I possibly can to maxing out that £20,000 in a year. I do that for several reasons, and I choose to prioritise that for several reasons, but I actually have quite an old video actually on why I decided to do this. However, if I get to the point where I'm able to max out my ISA very easily every year, I will definitely be focusing on my self-invested personal pension next. Again, this is a decision that is right for me. You may want to really focus on your self-invested personal pension or your pension contributions rather than your stocks and shares ISA. This is just what I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, I am trying to still pay into this on a monthly basis as and when I can, and then larger lump sums when they are available. So I will hopefully be growing this considerably over the next few years. So when it comes to retirement, I would obviously like to have much more money in this self-invested personal pension. So I would hope that I would have a good wedge of money in stocks and shares ISAs. If you fancy subscribing to this channel to see my monthly updates on my self-invested personal pension, then please do. I would love to have you watch more of these videos, and I will share with you any extra additional money that I'm putting into my self-invested personal pension, any major changes that I'm making. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. Have a really lovely day, and I wish you all the very best with your own investments. Bye bye.